Hello and welcome to Catching Up with the Backs, episode number 12. This week, our special guest is Ryan Duncan, who played for the Silverbacks in 2004-2005 before starring at the University of North Dakota and then playing pro in Europe for 9 seasons. Ryan, thank you for joining me. How are you doing today?
Hey, great, Nathan. Thanks for having me. Excited to relive some memories with the Silverbacks and catch up, see how things are going.
Yeah, so we're going to go over your whole career, basically, and I just want to start with the year before, or I guess a couple years before you joined the Silverbacks in 2004, 2005. You played at a prestigious prep program, Shattuck St. Mary's. Just want to start with your experience there. What was it like? And you're from Calgary, so why did you kind of decide to head to Shattuck?
Yeah, it was kind of just really lucky and such a wonderful experience to get to go through. So the way it happened, I was, like you mentioned, growing up in Calgary, and there's a big midget tournament, or 18 and under tournament in Calgary called the Max Midget Tournament. And Shattuck used to come up and play every year, and the few years leading up to when I was able to play in the tournament, they had some really special players like Zach Parisi, Ben Eves, Brady Murray. The list goes on. And so I got to watch those guys play, and they played such a special, unique style that I hadn't really seen before. So, and they would go on to win the tournament, and always, like, it was very inspiring, and kind of the things just lined up for me. And they needed a player, and I had a good game at the right time, so I got the opportunity to go down there and go to school for my grade 11 and grade 12, and just couldn't have asked for anything more. I felt like I got so much out of the experience, and met a lot of great people and learned a lot about hockey and life in that time there.
Now, in your first year, you played with Sidney Crosby, and I heard as well you were roommates with Sidney Crosby. Can you share a 15-year-old Sidney Crosby? What is it like? I guess he was around 15. What was it like to live with him at the time? Yeah,
it was such an education for me. He was a professional already. So the way he conducted himself on and off the ice, just such a good human being, and then obviously such a good hockey player. So try to soak up every little morsel. He was 2 years younger than me, or he is 2 years younger than me, and learn more from that guy than anybody. So it was a pretty special and unique experience for me. And then for him to go on, we knew he was destined for greatness, but for what he's done in his career with those expectations is pretty remarkable.
And then the second year, you look at the numbers that you put up in your second year, 134 points. Can you just talk about your second and final year at Shattuck and what that was like?
Yeah, well, I was my hockey career has been pretty blessed, where the next year I got to play with a guy named Jonathan Toews. So that probably led to the higher point totals, and just soaking up everything from a kid who was 3 years younger than me. So I was just kind of on a really lucky path, and I had a good year at that time, and was able to commit to the University of North Dakota at that time. And it was such a pleasure to play for the coach there, Tom Ward, and he helped me and a lot of guys, further our careers.
So you've got the commitment to the University of North Dakota, and you decide to 1 year before to come out here to Salmon Arm and play Junior A. Can you talk about that decision? What were the factors that went into deciding to come out here?
Yeah, the big factor for me was Andy Murray was one of the co-owners of Salmon Arm at the time, and he had been a huge factor in me getting to Shattuck St. Mary's. So we had an open communication. Andy was the head coach of the Canadian national team in Calgary for quite a few years when we were growing up. So played against his son Brady, and my dad and Andy formed a relationship. So always stayed in contact with him, and like I said, he helped get me down to Shattuck. And then when the time came that I had to go play a year of junior hockey somewhere before going to North Dakota, it was just a fantastic opportunity that he presented in front of me. And being from Canada, being away for 2 years, going down to Shattuck, I wanted to go back and play in Canada and play a year of junior hockey in Canada. And Salmon Arm went up and visited and watched a playoff game the year before, and had some guys on the team like Travis Zajac and Chris Chucko, and just got to see the Sunwave Center I think it's still, I don't know if it's called that anymore, but just experience a game there and see the fans and the community. I was sold pretty quickly.
And is there any way you can kind of summarize your season? What stands out from your year here?
Yeah, no, it was, I just really, looking back on it, the group of guys that we had, how much fun it was coming to the rink, how much fun we had off the ice, and then just like the style of play that we played. We were so offensive. It fit my style so well. So we were very much run and gun. Our poor goaltenders, they just got shelled every game. But no, we had to score a lot of goals, and it was an exciting brand of hockey. I don't know if it was leading to much success in the playoffs, but it was really fun as an offensive player.
Well, we're going to break this down a little bit. 268 goals as a team. So we're talking basically 4.5 goals per game. I was looking at 7, 8, 9. I think there was a 10-goal game at one point that season. As a team, what was it that allowed you guys to score so many goals?
Yeah, I don't know if it was like just the style or the coaching that we were given, or just the type of players that we had. That we just had a lot of offensive talent, and we had a lot of good chemistry on the offensive side of the puck. So I think we had a lot of guys who could score up and down our lineup, and who loved to score. And maybe should have concentrated a little more on the other side of the puck. But no, it made for a lot of fun, a lot of celebrations.
Now, you yourself, obviously a pretty seamless transition. You scored 48 goals in 57 games here. Well, what do you think allowed you? You're also named Interior Rookie of the Year. You yourself, who were you playing with, and what allowed you to really have a seamless transition?
Yeah, it was just, I got a great opportunity from the coaching staff to play in a lot of situations right away, and got a lot of power play time. And yeah, we just had a lot of talented offensive players, whether it would be, can't remember exactly who my line mates were, but played with like Evan Barlow, Ben Street, who's gone on to have a tremendous career in pro hockey. And then older veteran guys like Trevor Geiger and Bryn Gagnon and those type of players who were really effective players. And, it was just, we had a lot of great chemistry off the ice, and I think that translated to at least the offensive side on the ice.
Now, with all the goals scored that season, I've been told there was a fish and chips kind of promotion where if you guys scored a certain amount of goals, everyone in the building would get free fish and chips. But you guys kept scoring so many. Is it they had to raise the bar? What do you remember about the fish and chips experience? Yeah,
I vaguely remember that. So that's whoever was putting on that promotion probably didn't like that team too much that year. But that's what, we had to score a lot, because that's it. We were giving up too many probably opportunities and odd man rushes the other way. That was the way our team was built that year. And like I said, it was a lot of fun to play. So hopefully the fans remember that, and the sponsors probably remember that, but for not so happy reasons.
Now, the playoffs that season, you guys beat Merritt in 5, then lost to Prince George in 5. In the second round series, there was a lot of 1-goal games with Prince George. Do you remember those games, and what stands out to you about that series?
Yeah, it was really back and forth, and I remember them having a lot of talent too. So, it was really back and forth, and I thought it could have gone either way. It was really, really close up until the end. Would have loved to gone on and play Vernon, obviously, in the next round. That would have been awesome. But no, we were tight with Prince George kind of all year. So we knew if we played in the playoffs that it was going to be like that. And they kind of just got the last punch, the last goal in there, and that was the difference. I think it went to 6 games, right? So it was a close series.
The series before, there were some you had a 6-point game in the first round against Merritt. It was a 9-3 win. These big individual playoff performances, like a 6-point game, is that something that you remember? And the playoff that you had, 20 points in 11 games, is that something you remember?
For sure. That was a special playoff run for me, and that was always something that I wanted to be known for as a player, that I came to play in the biggest game. So I had a good regular season, but I knew that kind of meant nothing going into the playoffs, and I just wanted to prove that even when the games get tougher, that I could help produce. And for sure would have loved to win a few more games and go on further, but definitely proud of our team and kind of what we accomplished, because there's a lot of guys who had good playoffs.
Can you talk about how playing in the BCHL, how that helped your game when you did make the transition to the NCAA?
Yeah, so like I kind of mentioned, it was just a really good fit for me. It helped build a lot of confidence, especially on the offensive side of things, that I knew I could play, at that level, and was really feeling good going into, the college game. So couldn't have asked for it. Looking back now, I couldn't have asked for anything better, individually, where I got just such a great opportunity to play, and a lot of ice time in such a crucial development time in my career.
What do you remember about the community here, though, playing in front of these fans? They had a lot to cheer for, a lot of goals. What do you remember about the community of Salmon Arm?
Yeah, I loved it. It was a fantastic town, and just the people who just embraced us and supported us so much, and had tremendous billets in Gary and Helen Osborne, and they just rallied around the team. So it was you were well taken care of when you go to the rink, when you're going to a restaurant or whatever around town, and just a special environment. And I think everybody should play a year of junior in Canada, and Salmon Arm is one of those smaller towns that embraces that mentality so well.
So we're going to transition now to North Dakota. Your dad played at North Dakota. Can you take me through the first time you put on a jersey and suited up, what that moment was like, and maybe it being more special because your dad played at the same school?
Yeah, it was just surreal for me because I'd always heard about college hockey from my dad growing up, and got the opportunity when I was in grade 8 to go down and watch a game at North Dakota. And growing up in Western Canada, we didn't know much about college hockey, right? I'd never seen a game. So to go down and see the atmosphere and see what the whole, the college town was all about, and see the brand of hockey that was being played, that was instantly my goal. I fell in love with it. And then to have my connection with my dad playing there, and my mom went to school there, it was always my goal to play college hockey. And that was my dream. And then never probably thought it was possible to play at North Dakota because they were such a top program. But then things just snowballed for me, and I had some good momentum, and to commit to there, and yeah, like you said, put on the jersey for the first time and go out and play there and in front of the fans there. It was very, very special.
Now, the team that first year, a lot of talent. Talked about at Shattuck, some familiar faces: Toews, T.J. Oshie, Drew Stafford. What do you remember about your freshman season at North Dakota?
Yeah, so we came in, we had 13 freshmen. So that was an incredibly young team, but we had 6 first-round picks on our team, which is incredible. I don't think there's too many teams, whether it be in major, junior, or college hockey history, can boast that they had 6 first-round picks on their team. So we were so young, we had so much to learn, but it also meant that a lot of us young guys were going to get an opportunity to play, which doesn't always happen because there's seniority in college hockey and you got to earn it. And maybe we were given the opportunity before we were, had earned it. So that was nice for a lot of us. And then we just kind of got better as the year went on. So it was such a special group coming together. And then by the end of the year, we were one of the best teams in college hockey. So unfortunately, we fell short there too, but it was we were playing some of the best hockey, and like I said, with Salmon Arm, some of the most entertaining and fun and offensive and physical hockey that a lot of fans, I think, enjoyed.
Now, you guys did win the WCHA championship. You made it to the Frozen Four. Boston College, they would end up being a familiar face, but that first semifinal, a 6-5 game. What do you remember about that game? Was it as crazy as the score indicates?
Yeah, so they were always kind of our Achilles heel. They played, you want to talk about an offensive style, they were explosive, and they were kind of something that we didn't really see throughout the season. So maybe that was part of it. You would think by the third year we would have learned our lesson a little bit, but no, they were obviously a great team. Kind of similar to us in they had a lot of future NHLers on the team and a lot of talent, and it was kind of just two heavyweights colliding, and they ended up getting the last punch every time.
Your second season, personally, a lot of accolades, 31 goals, 57 points. We'll get to the Hobey Baker honor in just a second, but I just want to know that what changed with you in terms of putting up those totals? What was different in year 2?
Yeah, it was kind of just building off of the end of our freshman year, where we had a lot of success as a team, building a lot of confidence with the group that we had, playing with guys like Toews and Oshie, who are obviously world-class talents, and then just having good chemistry with them. It was something that just kept growing and growing, and those guys kept getting better, and I just tried to, compliment them, and it was just knowing each other and putting a lot of hard work and discipline into it behind the scenes, and it was nice to have it pay off that season, because it was a special season, and just a lot of momentum that kept on going. And it's kind of rare in the game of hockey. You got to try to hang on to that as long as you can.
To be named the Hobey Baker winner, what, as college's top player, what did that honor mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, it was unbelievable, because, you know, there wasn't too many sophomores who had been named the winner. So I didn't think that was possible. I was just really proud to, you know, have that season and to just be a part of something special. Like I mentioned, it's so rare to have the chemistry like you do with line mates like that, and to get rewarded for it and be recognized for it. It's always special, and something, especially as you go on, you learn to appreciate it, just like how rare that award is and kind of what comes along with it. So feel very privileged to be part of that group.
Now, overall, 4 seasons at North Dakota, 172 points in 175 games. What stands out when you overall look back at the experience? I mean, is there anything that comes to mind in particular, or when you kind of look at it as a whole?
Yeah, it was just college hockey in general is it's a little like junior hockey, where you only have so much time to play it, right? So you kind of don't appreciate how unique it is at the time, where you're going to school with whatever it is, 18, 17-year-olds to 24-year-olds, or whatever, 30,000 kids all together at the same time. And you get to play like I did at North Dakota, where hockey is the biggest thing, and you get to play in this $100 million arena. And it was just, you know, it was such a peak in my career at that time, you know, where you're just a part of such a professional organization. And to look back on it, definitely proud of our teams that I was on there, and kind of adding to the tradition there. And that was, you know, it's not an easy thing to do, because it's there's a lot of expectations there, but I feel lucky to be a part of the groups that I was on.
Now, some of those special players that you played with, like Toews and Oshie, do you still keep in contact with them to this day?
Yes, yeah, it's such a formative time, and we have so many experiences on and off the ice that, you know, there's a bond there, and there's a trust that's built. And for a lot of guys who are fortunate enough to go on to play pro hockey, like things change once you get to pro hockey. It's a lot more selfish, and it's kind of the last little bit where hockey is pure, and, you know, you're playing for the true love of the game in your school, and you got that spirit and the classmates, and everybody's talking about it, and you know, you're truly playing for the right reasons. So it's something that we still talk about and look back on fondly, in such a special time in our lives.
Just moving past the NCAA part of your career, you signed a contract with the Bridgeport Sound Tigers, played a couple games in April 2009. Just that transition, those first couple games of pro hockey, what was that like?
Yeah, no, so being as a hockey nerd, it was so cool for me to be so close to the NHL and see pros and how they handle themselves, and also how organizations handle, you know, different situations, whether it's who gets to play and the draft picks and free agents and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed that part of it, and very thankful for Bridgeport to bring me in and give me that opportunity. And that was my first pro experience, and you know, that was a great place for me to start.
Now, the next season you went over to Austria, your first season with EC Salzburg. Just take me through why making that jump overseas, kind of almost right after college.
After my experience in Bridgeport, I wasn't sure what was going to happen, and then this opportunity came up in Austria. And obviously, a kid growing up in Calgary, I had no idea that, you know, they even had hockey in Austria. But I had known some guys who had played there, so I did a little research that way. And Pierre Paget was the coach, so I don't know if anybody. He was a big name in Western Canada. He coached, you know, the Calgary Flames for a little bit, and the Quebec Nordiques when the big Lindros trade was made. So I had known his name, and yeah, he just gave me my real true, like, first start in pro hockey. You know, he gave me an opportunity to come over, and I'd always been open to the European game. I knew that was an option to me, being a smaller player. So I had known some people who had gone over and had a lot of success and enjoyed themselves. So I wanted to go give it a try and see what happened. And it was always my goal to go prove myself and then come back and try to play in the NHL.
So you just talked about being a smaller player, international ice overseas. Can you talk about the other differences maybe in the style of play in your first year in Europe?
Yep. So yeah, bigger ice surface, and it's almost like a soccer mentality where you possess the puck, and just there was a lot more room for me to operate. I enjoyed playing on a small ice surface too. That's what we did in North Dakota and Salmon Arm as well. But just kind of adjusted to that, and it gave me more space in the pro game where you're playing against men, and it was a fantastic fit for me. It's the way the leagues work in Europe. It's kind of each country has their own league, and each league kind of has their own style. So Austria was just a great fit for me as a player, and it ended up being, I thought I was going to be there for a couple of years and move on, but it was, I fell in love with it, and it was just the perfect fit in so many ways.
As a Canadian, what's it like to live in Austria and Salzburg? I mean, it must be a pretty cool place.
Yeah, no, you kind of pinch yourself. You take it for granted a little bit in the first couple of years because you're like, oh, this is just a stepping stone kind of deal. But as you go on and you get longer in your career and realize how hard it is for an import to stay in one place, in a beautiful place like Salzburg, Austria, and how well they treated us as a team and organization. You really appreciate like the culture, just how, the way they approach life, and just the quality of life was so high, and I feel so very lucky to go there as a young person, and then, go over there. By the end of it, I got married and have kids, and, it became a family affair.
I'm just curious about language, especially when you first went over. You said, of course, there's some Canadians and stuff, but what was it like? Was there a language barrier of sorts?
I was terrified when I first went over there, thinking that, nobody spoke English. But I quickly realized that English was the language of business. So everybody knew how to speak English. So it was really comfortable that way. Obviously, they encouraged you to learn the German language. I did not do a good enough job of that, that's for sure, but they still were very welcoming in a lot of ways. And it's very, very much a seamless transition if you're coming from North America, as long as you are willing to embrace kind of some of their traditions and cultures and be respectful of everything. It couldn't, like I said, the quality of life couldn't be higher, and it was a great place to live for 9 years.
You talked about, obviously, it was a great fit, but also on top of that, a good team. You guys won championships the first 2 seasons. What's it like to win a league championship over in Austria?
Yeah, it was awesome. We had, like I said, I've had a blessed path, so I get to go there, and I'm playing with some of the best Austrian national players, of that generation. So you go there instantly, and it's not like I have everything on my shoulders. They're carrying a huge load of it, and we had a ton of great imports, and I had a ton of great veteran players who had been in Europe and kind of took me under their wing and supported me, and that just made it so much easier. So it was a great place to grow as a player, especially as a young pro, and I had great examples, and to be able to contribute to a championship team and numerous championship teams, like it was things that I'll never forget. Celebrating championships in the streets of Salzburg, it's that's a fairy tale.
You did come back to North America a little bit with the Portland Pirates. You played 1 season. You also played a year in Germany. So can you just talk me through, I guess, at that point in your career, first coming back to North America, the decision to do that? Why was that decision made?
So like I mentioned, it was always my goal to go to Europe, prove that I could be a pro player, and then come back and earn my way to the NHL. So probably a pipe dream, but that was I wanted to always come back and put a full season in and prove myself. That obviously didn't end up happening. I had an okay year in Portland, but still really valuable experience where, like I said with Bridgeport, you get to see who's getting called up to the NHL, like how organizations handle things. And we didn't make the playoffs that year. We just missed it, but fantastic group. And like so fun to come to the rink each day, and it was I'm very happy that with my decision to come back, because it was a wonderful experience in a lot of ways.
And then the decision to play a season in Germany, why was that? I mean, obviously you did end up playing many more years of successful seasons in Salzburg, but why give Germany a try?
So the way that went down, the team that I played for in Salzburg was sponsored by Red Bull, and they just had acquired the rights to own the team in Munich, Germany. So what ended up happening was Pierre Paget, who I mentioned before, ended up going from Salzburg to coach in Munich. So he had been, like I said, giving me my first real opportunity to coach pro or to play pro hockey, and he wanted me to go with him. So I felt loyal to him, and I wanted to go try to prove myself in another league. And yeah, it was, we didn't have a great year there, but it was cool to go experience another city, and Munich's a beautiful city as well. And you knew it was going to be special. We were just kind of it was the first couple of years of it going, and now they're a juggernaut in the German league and in European hockey.
When people typically think of, European hockey, I feel like the Scandinavian countries probably come to mind first, but having played in Austria and Germany, those countries and kind of, I guess, more Eastern European countries, how have you seen the game grow there? And it seems that their future is very bright. Yeah,
they've made a massive investment, and you see it already with Germany. They're producing players like Draisaitl and Stutzle, like some of these guys going high in the draft, and they've done a good job of kind of mimicking these soccer academies. So they've invested a lot of money in these youth academies, and these kids get to go and play hockey and learn from the best coaches in the region, and they bring coaches in from everywhere, so they got great influence. And yeah, the team that I played for in Salzburg, they have their own youth academy now. So probably, if I could guess, you're kind of seeing it already, but whatever, 10 years from now, you're going to see, more and more Austrian players coming over to North America and playing in the NHL.
Can you talk to me about the decision to retire, how difficult that was, and what factors went into that?
Yeah, it was a tough ending for me in Salzburg, because I wanted to stay, and I thought that I could still play and contribute, and thought I deserved to still be there. But it was a coaching change, and they made the decision to move on. So the last summer in 2019 there, I was just kind of going in two directions. And I was obviously looking at free agency as a hockey player. If anything great came up there, I was going to look at it. And then I was kind of, looking at the next step of my life as well. So just happened that I caught on with a great company here, and feel very fortunate, especially with the timing, with how the world has gone, to have made that transition. And it's been a big time blessing in disguise.
So can you talk to me now about what your last year has been like in that opportunity that you talked about?
Yeah, so it's kind of unique, because, you go from playing hockey for 10 years and doing that for my whole life, and then now I'm a rookie again, and I got to start to rock bottom. And I joined a company here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and the way they do it, like any job, you got to earn it and you got to prove yourself. And but caught on with a company that has a bunch of former athletes and very similar mindset, and it's been a good fit. So it's I've enjoyed it. It's a new challenge. To be honest, I haven't really missed hockey that much. Like, I'm still a fan, but very satisfied with my career as a player. So I was happy that way. Got a lot of great experience. Very grateful, with everything that happened. And now, ready for the next challenge and see if I can prove myself in another way.
And obviously, you've got to spend more time with family. So how nice has that been for you?
Yeah, and that's what it's Thanksgiving Day down here. So just reflecting on that, and, getting to be home every night with my kids. And, there's no more road trips really anymore. I'm not having any overnight trips where my wife's putting two kids to bed. I get to contribute a little more, even though I'm busy. Like, it's the lifestyle's not quite the same. I'm working 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., like long days. But, it's nice to be able to be home each night and have the weekends and holidays and enjoy that part of it.
We're going to circle back quickly here to a few Salmon Arm questions, and then we'll get into some fan questions. At the time, your favorite off-ice activity, like when you guys weren't practicing and stuff, what did kind of the team get up to off the ice in Salmon Arm?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, we would just kind of go around town. I think we would golf a little bit, but just kind of hang out. Like I can remember us all being together, and kind of at that age, we were just like inseparable. Yeah, you were going over to each other's billet houses and whatever it was, watching movies, listening to music, just hanging out. So it was, can't remember one specific, thing that we did. Go to Boston Pizza, go bowling. That's, just the typical teenage kid stuff.
Did you have a favorite opponent to play against back that season?
Well, the matchups with Vernon were special because we knew they were such a great team. And I mean, they played hard and they played physical, and they were definitely intimidating in a lot of ways, their brand. So it was such a challenge that way. For sure loved playing like the Merritts and Prince George. We seemed to play them a lot and have a tremendous rivalry. The road trips to Trail, you always remember that, the long and windy road, and so it's just like memories like that. And then even going out to the island, and we didn't get to go there that much, but it was special always, getting to go on that little trip and see, like, it was almost like they were another league a little bit. So you go there and see how they're living and how their setup is. So it was a lot of fun. I'd probably say Vernon for sure, though, because that's the big rival at the time.
What can you remember about the original Silverback super fans? What do you remember about them?
The original just the fan base in general. Like it's such a special thing for a smaller Canadian town to embrace the team, and they treated us so well, and they were there to support us all the time, whether it be at home or on the road. And no, it's I can't remember like any specific examples, but no, just knew they were always there to support us.
Okay, time for some fan questions. Are you ready?
So we'll see here.
So I'm just going to start. We have two people asking a similar question. So Jeff McPhee, after all the success you earned during your hockey career, why do you think you were not able to replicate this success while playing lawn games? Now, it's similar to Richard Lim on Twitter, who also said, how is your lawn game still going? So I'll put those together. How's your lawn bowling going?
Yeah, so we have a little common theme here going. So a little backstory for everybody. These are two of my buddies from Calgary, and we have a pretty tight-knit group of about 12 or 13 of us who grew up playing hockey together. And it turned in, we've made an annual trip. I can't remember exactly how many years we've been going now, but at least like 15, 20 years. It's a long time. So we go to Radium, BC every year, so not too far. And we would go up there, and it would just be the boys, and we'd have our annual lawn games, we called it. And I haven't got my name on that championship trophy yet, so they make sure that they rub it in as much as possible.
Next question from J5 on Twitter. Who was the better line mate, T.J. Oshie or Jonathan Tate?
This is such a tough one to answer. I don't know. I gotta stay, diplomatic on this. Yeah. I played 3 years with both of them. 1 year at Shattuck with Johnny, and then 2 years at North Dakota, and then 3 years with TJ at North Dakota. So got to spend a lot of time with them, and it was like I've said about having the opportunity to have success in college hockey. It's not possible without those guys. And to go on and see what they've accomplished in pro hockey and the Olympics, and I'm just very proud to have had that opportunity, and to know like what I can express to other people who don't know them, just how good of people they are. It was I'm not going to choose just one, because they're both great guys and players.
Just going on top of that quickly, because Jonathan Toews gets this Captain Serious, that's what everyone calls him. And what is he really like?
Yeah, he's as normal can be. Like he's, he's such a good guy. He's very fun loving. He knows how to have fun, and he knows how to include. He's a leader in every sense of the word. He knows how to include everybody and make sure everybody's having a great time. So, pretty incredible for me to sit back and watch these guys like Oshie and Toews and Crosby, and just how much success they've had, but how well they treat people, and they remember where they came from.
So the next question is questions. We have 5 submitted questions from Benny Blood on Instagram. So played with him at North Dakota. Is that where you guys first connected?
Yeah. So my last year in college was his first year. So he was my freshman. Had to whip him into shape. He was just a young buck coming out of Shattuck in the USHL. So he had a lot to learn. So no, we've formed a pretty special relationship, since then. And he's a beauty, as you would say.
So he asked, I guess I'll give you your choice here. We've got, do you even fish? Who's your favorite freshman at UND? Why do you always hit pop flies? Why do you live in Utah? And who is your favorite player in Liga? Is there any stories behind any of those questions?
Wow. Yeah, so many inside jokes, right? So many inside stories. So no, yeah. He watched me play softball this summer, so that's why I hit pop flies. I don't know the fish reference. I'll have to ask him about that one. Utah is because of where we live in the Twin Cities. We live so far west outside of Minneapolis that he's got to drive all the way to Utah to see us if he wants to hang out. And then the Liga, he plays in Finland, so he's have to say Benny Blood 2-4 is my favorite player in the Liga for sure.
There we go. Perfect. Lastly, any advice for any junior A players here? As someone who has had a successful pro career, what's your advice for junior A players?
Yeah, it's such a special and unique time. And for me, it was kind of the first time that I was playing hockey. I went to school for the first half of the year, but first time that I truly, my sole focus was on hockey, where I could make myself a better player. We had access to the ice at Sunwave Center and could work out as much as we wanted. So no matter, it was completely up to me how much better, I wanted to get at hockey and how much time I wanted to put in. And there's temptations for sure off the ice. And, you kind of decide, like, do you want to be a great hockey player or do you want to enjoy the hockey lifestyle? So that was, if you want to, you can really put as much as you want into it and passion and love into the game. And I just loved the game of hockey. So it was the perfect spot for me to grow as a player. And but still, at the same time, saying all that, have a lot of fun off the ice with my teammates. So tried to find that balance, but it was such a crucial time for me looking back in my development. And like I said, it gave me a lot of confidence going into my college career.
Thank you so much for joining us and catching up with the Backs, and good luck in this next chapter in your career.
Yep. Thank you, Nathan. Thanks for having me, and go Silverbacks. Good luck.